There are three basic ways to configure user and/or host-based security for a network service. You could do it, in most cases, in the service-specific configuration file. For TCP-based services, you could use TCP wrappers. And you could also configure a firewall based on iptables commands. We've discussed each of these in detail in other videos, so this should just be a review. First, most services support some level of at least host-based security using IP addresses, host names, and/or domain names. For example, in NFS, the following line limits access to the home directory to systems in the example .NET domain. Sometimes you may want to substitute IP addresses, say when DNS service is not available or not reliable. User-based security can't be configured in all service-specific configuration files, but it is possible in many. For example, in a Samba configuration file, the following directive, valid users equals Mary, Fred, limits access to those users with the Mary and Fred usernames. Of course, this assumes there is some Windows-type authentication database which includes these users. Next, user and hostname-based security can be configured using TCP wrappers, but that works only for services which use TCP packets. While that's most services, that doesn't apply to every Linux service. That can be checked in the etc/services configuration file. TCP wrappers are configured in etc/host.allow and etc/host.deny, read in that order. In other words, if a host, a user, or service is allowed in etc/host.allow, it doesn't matter what's in etc/host.deny. Finally, host access can be regulated through a firewall, generally by port number. It's configurable with the iptables command. For the current firewall for IPv4 addresses, run the iptables-l. That's a capital L command. You can also use IP6 tables-l to see the parallel firewall for IPv6 networking. The easiest way to configure a firewall is with the security level configuration tool. But that's not always enough, so you need to know how to insert iptables commands. We've shown you in detail in another video. When you do, just make sure to save the changes with the iptables save command and IP6 table save commands. Those are the basic principles of configuring user and host-based security for a service.